There are multiple updates concerning the trade status of Giannis Antetokounmpo. Milwaukee's front office is getting desperate as they try to solve an impossible situation and salvage the franchise. What's up, everybody? I'm your host, Nathan Burton, here with Bucks Digest, your number one source on YouTube for all things Bucks. Thank you for being here with me today. Let's get right into it. We're, of course, going to talk about Giannis Antetokounmpo. Most of our points of conversation this offseason are going to surround rumors involving Giannis Antetokounmpo and a possible trade. It's all anyone in Bucks media can talk about, and there seems to be just fuel getting added to the fire every day. So I'm going to talk about the latest in the trade rumors, what I think is likely to happen, and what the franchise has to do to move forward here. Before I do, I'm just going to ask everyone to please hit that subscribe button. You guys have been running up the subscribers for me and Nick. We really appreciate it. We're going to be bringing you Bucks content all off season, and it should be an interesting one. So let's talk about it. There's a new report just dropped. Multiple outlets reported on this, but I pulled it from Full Court Pass here. Giannis Antetokounmpo wants to play in either Los Angeles, New York, or Miami if he leaves the Milwaukee Bucks. Now, it's worth noting that this just comes from a source inside the Bucks organization. Giannis has not stated this publicly, nor do I expect him to. It'd actually be shocking. I mean, one of the first comments on this post was a quote from a previous interview with Giannis Antetokounmpo where he said he has a preference for smaller cities over large, flashy urban environments. He has stated that he doesn't like the bright lights and big city atmosphere associated with NBA franchises such as LA or Miami. So, contradictory there to what Giannis has said in the past, but we know things change over time, and we know Giannis wants to win, and these big markets are where the winning often happens. I mean, it's pretty awkward to see Giannis in these jerseys, a Lakers jersey, a New York jersey, or even a Miami jersey. I mean, he instantly makes any of these teams favorites to win a championship. Of course, it depends on what they send back in a trade, but the Bucks would likely be looking for picks more than win now players. The Bucks don't have control of their first round pick until 2031. They've mortgaged the future for the present, and it just has not worked out with injuries decimating the Bucks over the last 5 years. Of course, if you trade Giannis, you're going to get back a starter. You're going to get back if not a star player, a serviceable starter and a litany of picks. But it remains to be seen. Of course, I went on record as saying there's nothing that any team can offer that's going to feel like a good trade for Giannis. But the franchise is backed into a corner right now. They need to figure something out. And if Giannis wants to go to a big market, they certainly have assets to send back the other way. So Giannis has been linked to just about every team in this offseason. We've heard Houston and the Spurs. We talked about on the last show. He's been linked to Chicago. He's been linked to just about every team. But remember, Giannis has come out and said that he doesn't think he'd ever ask for a trade. He's not that kind of guy. They would have to kick me out. So it's nice to hear that type of talk from Giannis. But the fact of the matter is they may be backed into a corner here. Giannis has said he's happy in Milwaukee. He's come out and stated many times that he wants to remain a Buck and win here. But what's the path forward for the Bucks? Of course, the Damian Lillard torn Achilles completely throws a wrench in what was likely to happen in this offseason. There's been questions all the way through about Damian Lillard's fit with Giannis. Of course, we know these guys like each other, they respect each other, and they're both great all-star caliber players, but the advanced statistics show that them on the floor together doesn't exactly work. They never developed the lethal pick and roll that a lot of pundits expected them to when Lillard first went to Milwaukee. So Here's where the Bucks are kind of stuck and where a Giannis trade comes into play. If Damian Lillard was healthy going into this offseason, a Giannis trade wouldn't even be being discussed or entertained, I think, by the front office. This was a report from The Athletic's Eric Nam when he said, had Lillard remained healthy and the Bucks still fallen in the first round, league sources say there would have been discussions about whether Lillard wanted to remain in Milwaukee. He's been heavily linked to the Orlando Magic. The Orlando Magic had interest in Lillard during the time when he went to Milwaukee. And when you look at the young Magic roster, it makes sense. They are dying for a scoring point guard. They have franchise corner pieces in Paolo Banchero and Franz Wagner, but they need a real point guard, a leader. This would have made sense to me had Lillard remained healthy. In fact, like I said, Lillard was linked to them in previous trade discussions, right? So this was a mock trade that I saw online. Damian Lillard, had he remained healthy, of course, for Jalen Suggs, KCP, first round picks. This would have made sense to me. It would have got Milwaukee back on the board when it comes to the draft picks, and they would have got better defensively with, of course, Jalen Suggs and KCP both being very solid defenders coming back. So, unfortunately, there's no way this works anymore. I mean, the trade value for Damian Lillard is near zero. I think Shannon Sharp, of all people, put it the best when he said, how are you going to try to sell me a car with no motor in it? So there's little confidence around the league that Damian Lillard is worth what the Bucks would be looking for in a trade. We all know these Achilles injuries can be career threatening. We've seen a couple players come back and still look similar to their former selves, such as Kevin Durant. But Lillard is 37 years old, and he's coming off, I think I got his age wrong there. But anyways, he's getting older. He's coming off the deep vein thrombosis, blood clots back-to-back with an Achilles tear. Teams have no idea if Damian Lillard can recapture his all-star form. A lot of sources are expecting his trade value to be basically zero right now. So where does that put our Bucks, right? Where does it put them? They are paying Damian Lillard $54 million next year to sit on the bench and recover. The injury happened in the playoffs. He's not eligible for the disabled player exception that would have took some of the heat off this situation. So between Damian Lillard and Giannis Antetokounmpo, that's over 70% of the Milwaukee Bucks payroll. They simply do not have many options here when it comes to trying to build a team around Giannis should he decide to stay. It's likely Brook Lopez may be out the door. I think it's time. I went on record during the playoffs saying Brook Lopez is too slow to keep playing with his team in the run and gun Eastern Conference. But there's not a lot of money here, and John Horst would have to get very creative to put a team around Giannis right now while he's still paying Damian Lillard. So if Damian Lillard has zero trade value, then what do you do to try to rebuild this franchise that has basically no draft picks in the near future and not many assets to trade outside of these two superstars? I would not want to be general manager John Horst right now. I mean, a Giannis trade makes him the ultimate villain in Milwaukee. But if you really dig into the numbers, it might be their only way out of this mess. I want to know what you guys think, though. This is an unsolvable problem in my eyes. I mean, Giannis is a generational player, and I would never say that I want to see him go. But is he going to be happy playing a full year next year with, being clearly light years better than everyone else on the team and probably ending up in the basement of the Eastern Conference or a play-in team and hoping Damian Lillard can come back? I don't know. Giannis is a pretty happy-go-lucky guy, but a man can only take so much. I want to know what you guys think. Leave your comments down below and tell me what you think the path forward for our Milwaukee Bucks are. Either way, it's fear the deer and go Bucks go.